In this video, I'm going to show you how to create this. When you're filming, you're going to want to make sure that you get a clean plate, but with the room bright orange. We are going to use this as light reflections for the flame. Now with Blender, in my World tab, I added an environment texture and added in my HDRI. Then delete the cube and add in a plane. Then rotate the plane 90 degrees and this will be our wall. Then with the camera selected, add a background image, select movie clip and add in your footage. I also changed the focal length to what I recorded on, which was 28mm. And in your render settings, make sure that the transparent box is checked. And now I'm going to build out my scene using the plane that we created. And you also want to make sure that the plane is a shadow catcher. Then once you've done that, you're going to want to add in an icosphere or a regular sphere, it doesn't really matter. Then you're going to want to animate the sphere so that it's tracked onto your hand, and this is going to be the source of the flame. With the sphere selected, go over to Object, Quick Effects, and select Quick Smoke. And with the domain selected, check the adaptive domain, dissolve, and noise, and adjust the frame start and end according to your timeline. Now select the sphere and change the flow type to fire plus smoke. Then increase the sampling to 2 and turn on initial velocity. Then increase the fuel to 2.5 and under the flow source, change the surface emission to 3.3. Now select your domain again and scale it up so that it fits within your scene. And under the Dissolve tab, change the time to 10. And under Noise, change the strength to 0.2. And under Fire, change the reaction speed to 1. And if you follow those settings, you should have something like this. Then in the cache, make sure you change the type to All and click Bake All. Now let's change the look of our flame. In the Shader tab, add a Volume Info node. Then add a Color Ramp and a Math node. Then plug the flame into the FAC and the color into the top value. Then plug the value into the black body intensity and increase the value. Then add another marker in the color ramp and change the color to black. Put the white marker in the middle and make it a B-spline. And change the Math node from Add to Multiply. Then duplicate the Volume Info node and add another Math node. Then plug the density into the value and the value into the density. Then delete the density attribute and change the Math node to Multiply. And increase the value to your liking. And you can darken the color to change the look of the smoke. And finally, you can match the lighting of your scene, and also make sure that you turn off the render of the sphere so that we don't see the sphere in our shot. Now in After Effects, add in your render, and the flame doesn't look great, so let's fix that. Duplicate your flame layer and add a tritone effect to the top layer, and change the highlights to a light orange and the midtones to a bright orange, and increase the blend width value. Now add in a deep glow effect and increase the threshold. And you can change the tint to a lighter orange and decrease the mix. Now it's already looking a lot better. Next, let's add an exposure effect to the bottom flame and decrease the exposure like so. And back to the top layer, add in a hue and saturation effect and increase the saturation. Next, add a Lumetri color effect and put it above all the other effects. Then increase the contrast to bring back the black values of the smoke. This is what it looked like before and after. Now select both flame layers and pre-compose them. Then you want to add in a clean plate that we got from filming and rename it to background light. Then freeze frame the current frame. Now duplicate your footage and trim till the flame is out of frame. And you're going to want to start rotoscoping the subject. Then put the clean plate over the footage, and with the clean plate selected, create a mask around the flame and feather it. Now animate the mask so that it follows the flame. Now it looks like the light from the flame is interacting with our environment. Next, duplicate the roto layer and pre-compose it. Now create and animate another mask but around your hand and arm. Then add a brightness effect to the layer and increase the brightness and contrast. Now animate the opacity so that it fades in when the flame does. Then duplicate the layer and do the same exact thing to the face. Now add an adjustment layer and create another mask around the flame, but this time make it more detailed. If you want, you can just copy and paste the other mask that we created, but I wanted to make this one a little bit more detailed. Then add a heat distortion effect and adjust the settings to your liking. Then add another adjustment layer and add a deep glow effect, and increase the threshold so that there's a nice soft glow around the flame. And open the mask from the heat distortion layer and copy and paste the mask to the glow layer. Now you should have a backlight layer, brightness around the arm and face, a glow layer around the flame, a heat distortion layer, and then the flame itself. Then as a final detail, I added a bokeh asset from Production Crate and flipped it horizontally. Then added a tint and changed the color to a light orange and set the blending mode to screen. Then I added a mask on the right side. Then finally animated the opacity so that it fades in and out. And if you follow these steps, you should have something like this. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, definitely hit that like and subscribe and leave some more video suggestions in the comments. I'm still working on the projects that I briefly mentioned in my past videos. So hopefully next week you guys will start to see some of the projects that I've been working on. And I know this video is a day late, but I guess better late than never. So yeah, with all that being said, I will see you guys next week.